I love how they voted for more police and fire on the ballot, which I didn't because the enough already with these people. It's all day long with the sirens. It's like a gig. And they voted themselves a pay raise. So I got this thing aligned right now. This is the final version for the moment. I think I'll just put up this as version 2 next to the other version. No need to wipe out the other one that trades at 80K. This one trades at 30K on the 5-minute. So I renamed the script or the template to reflect the this number means nothing, but the M5 M15 goes on the 15-minute, and I've got the M30 on the 30-minute chart. And I'm naturally going to trade bigger on the scalp with the tighter stop, and I could take this one off the table right now. I could close all winning trades right now. Now this is where you're trying to outguess just natural physics. If you have a bias at this point, or you could set these all to the same value. And maybe that's the way to approach it as far as you think you know you're right and you're making money just because the market's moving. That's a little bit disturbing. So I could let this play out. If you do see a move that you think, oh, you know what, I think it's done going down, and there's buy stops sitting or there's pendings now. I did delete some pendings, and some brokers will not let you delete the pendings down here if they're just about to get filled, depending where you're at broker-wise. But this time I'm trading with real money now. I totally trust the system. You can still place your pendings around this and limits, or you can put single orders in. Just don't change the time frame on any of these scripts. And look at it banging off the... now, there, the robot's going to get in for you there. That's a beautiful trade. And you could look at it and say, you know, that thing's at the fucking round handle, for God's sakes. Just let it go. Let it go. Let her cry. Hooting the blowfish. Just let her cry. I had to put let her cry in after I updated this thing. And I got a 1-minute robot running on another couple brokers here. I could not get this other demo to run, so I have to cancel out this demo account and go with a tighter spread with commissions. And I've also got this running on the euro, trading. So this is trading micro lots. This is going to trade. This is trading 4 EAs at once. Custom built each EA, but on the euro versus the yen. And this is going to be a little riskier. Certainly, if you built a guppy bot, it's going to be way more money to drive that car down the road. So you know, this is like any other robot in the world. You may have to babysit it to get it off the ground, get it off to college, get it off to the riots, or get it off to. Hopefully, that you treat the robot better than you treat your the dog you kick. So at the end of the day here, since I didn't want to manage my entries, and I know how I want to get in, I want to get in if it's going up, I want to be long. If it's going down, I want to be short. That sounds really ridiculous and really retarded, but, you know, come on. If you see this fractal setup on the 5-minute, you mean to tell me you don't want buy stops and sell stops sitting at this? Now, maybe you do want just buy stops, and maybe you do have a buy bot, and you load him up and you let him keep stacking the stops up on this. But he could have made money on the sell side too. And here, of course, this is the ultimate 5-minute where you have a single pivot character. There's no other. It's a complete anomaly. And if you tune the EA properly to that broker, you can take advantage of that. I would say just, you know, your 5-minute, you could have 4 5-minute charts up running 3 different versions of the robot. So one's going to scalp. I'm just taking everything from scripts and putting it on top of each script is now an EA, because you can't have more, like you can't, well, you're running a buy bank of 51Ks. That's 50K spread over an insane area that, you know, if the market goes into this trap zone with a 300 pip stop, that in the end, when it retraces and bounces out of this thing, even if it only makes it back to the plunge area, the first fill, let's say 50 pips deep, you know that trade makes money. The problem is the market ever going to go down and do that scenario? Who knows? With this thing, you're just getting in whichever way the wind blows. And so imagine you've got a really good spread on your broker, so you have the 5-minute robot comes in and he puts a order in here at oh geez, so here comes the 5-minute bot, and maybe he gets chopped up in this, and maybe he's getting all scatterbrained in here. Maybe he bakes it back on here. Of course, it's got to be scalpish and orientated here on the 5, all these orders, I think. Here you're seeing it come down here, and the robot would have been short on this anomaly. So that switch right there, that doji's going to trigger, and maybe it has to be, since if you went to the 1-minute chart right now, you'd see the pattern be like a trough, and then you would say, oh, well, that's going to trigger on the breakout of that 1-minute thing, 1-minute fractal. So imagine a robot that only takes this trade, this trade, this trade. I mean, that would be ideal. And it's just looking for that first switch over. The first time we have a long, short, long, they'll just count the waves like that and not look for a perfect confluence with anything else other than just mechanically trading. Like, what if you didn't know what was going to happen next? Would you just bracket that, the apex of that, and the scalp bot? And of course, the longer term, the 30-minute bot's getting filled on this with a stop here now, and he's riding that in a perfect configuration world. So the market's threading itself through your orders, and it's just sitting there doing it. I mean, it's hilarious. Certainly, I would trade bigger on each ticket now, only because of the fact that I would never babysit 20 currency pairs on a 15-minute chart looking for entry. Are you out of your mind? And you're going to manually trade that? But if you put these, even in a nano, in a micro or a nano account, pick one currency pair, build 10 robots to trade 1 minute, 5 minutes. I wouldn't go past the 1-hour chart. It doesn't make sense. Once you go to the 4-hour, you can't trade breakouts in the 4-hour. You could, but you should be in on the 1-hour breakout fractal with just wider take profits. But you cannot just write a master. You can't write this script for that. You have to write each robot's a script, which is just as well. You could also have the 5-minute robot only trade the London Open, where he knows he can make money. Otherwise, he's going to get whipsawed. So you go into the settings on here and set this. Okay, so I'm down 63 cents right now in a 4K. This is almost a brand new demo account, so I'm still at the same level. I guess I'm in a complete symmetrical hedge right now, waiting to get stopped out of one leg. And since it's a fixed pip broker, you don't even see the loss change right now. This would obviously be a place where the buy stops would maybe come in. So if maybe I could put it to the 1 minute and try to trigger the robot to come in, because he's not. I guess there's a limit how much this thing's going to trade too, which is kind of nice. This is why another reason why you could probably increase the size. I don't know what the fill rate is. Should the market behave a certain way? Who knows? And certainly, if it gets trapped up in the broker when the news comes out, maybe it does freeze the platform. I've never run one before, so it's certainly going to be fun. Now I've got 3 different orders here. All 3 different time frames have filled me in different manners too. So I had diversification. I had 2 buys, 2 sells, and they got in for different reasons. God, it's just so. I mean, I can't have to say I'm not making money on every trade, but I'm also not having to manage this thing. So if you're running your own store, you're always going to make more money when you're there running it because you're going to pay attention to all the details. When you leave other people in charge of it, you're going to come back and ask why is there ass cheeks on the Xerox machine, on the glass bed. It's always going to be those questions. And here, I mean, turning off that robot that's going to trade the end of this session on the 1 minute, I would probably do that maybe. So this order wouldn't be in existence, but maybe this is going to be the scalp winner. The ATR is going to matter too. So say you're running 4 robots and 4 time frames. You're probably going to want to have robots with a bigger ATR. Because if it's the guppy, it would have to say on the 5 minute you're looking to run you're running 20 pip stops on the 5 minute chart. So I don't know if it's worth. I would rather trade the euro dollar or the dollar to the yen, the two super tight pairs, and build around those 2 currency pairs various robot risk to reward ratios. Certainly you're always going to do better to risk 3 to make or risk 1 to make 3 or 1 to make 4, but not every robot is going to be running that. Those don't always happen, so the frequency of that, maybe that robot's looking at the 1 hour chart, or he's looking at the I'd say the higher time frame 1 hour. Maybe those are the outlandish breakouts, and certainly those robots can come into the mix at a certain time. You just go up here and set the so it's like having employees, right? You don't want to have too many employees on the job at once, because then there's always people fighting and throwing shit at each other. So maybe you set the time frame here. So this is critical to stop and start, but it's actually going to be looking at everything as it comes along here into its window into its attack window. And the ATR, I haven't played around with the delta. I haven't played around with. I do want to see if I can get with a directional only system. So the euro's making a little comeback to the round number again, and still below by 10 pips. Certainly it takes a load off. Another thing is that if you know how to trade, you can design the robot or the whole what do you call, like a team of bots. That is the way to go, I think. Although you don't want it to turn into a Mickey Mouse Disney disaster where the broom's bringing too many buckets of water, you know, Fantasia style. I'm actually up on this trade, so I'm watching this thing trade. It's making money on real money here. Certainly could always intervene and close all open and pendings if I think the robot has done something terribly inappropriate. So far, I've traded worse. And certainly, if you know how to trade, then it's going to be easy to. If you're trend trading this, you could say on the 1 hour euro yen that right here you started trading from the long side maybe, and you launch a long bot. And all he does is get on a stops. Now, ultimately, you'd have a limit bot running maybe behind that. But you don't have that choice here, so you'd have to have the 5 minute bot is already in on the trade. Having too much fun with this stupid-ass robot. Okay, so you're going to get long here on the 1 minute or the 5 minute. You want to be long before the... Look at this thing keep banging off here. So it's going to pick the direction. You don't have to worry about whether it's going to go up or down. It just keeps ratcheting a straddle on here, and then whichever way it goes. So if the 5 minutes you're getting filled here and here on these two, and you can see that, oh, you know what, it's maybe too late for the other time frame. And of course it's going to sell if it gets all like stalled out up here. It's going to try to reverse. But it's completely neutral to direction. It doesn't have a bias. The only bias is you getting out of the profits thinking, oh, that moves over, or the getting out when you're in losses and saying, oh, I think it's going the other way. So you're going into a pre-existing condition. You're showing up in front of, a robot that is like maybe doing the wrong thing in your opinion. Should you close all profits now and go, you know what? It's lucky it made that much money on that stupid move, and you think you're smarter than the robot. Of course, there's the competition, and if you are smarter than the robot, then who trained the robot? Or if you had an employee that you could totally give them all of the necessary, you'd say, okay, this is all, if they screw up, it's your fault because you trained them. So I guess you're delegating. It's like digital delegation. You don't, with MT4, you don't have to be a. Now you could also sit there and babysit the black bars coming down, or babysit the white bars going up, and either be in a long position, say I'm just going to hold that, it's still an uptrend. Or I'm going to try to jump on this trend and hopefully get them big enough to make it worth my while. Or I can just walk away from this whole mess and just say, you know what, it looks to me like when the market goes sideways too long, something's got to give. Now they can definitely trap you in Asia, so if you turn off the 5-minute bots and maybe you only run the 1-hour bots, maybe run no bots. Like the bots start to come in. Now the person that sent me this, it's called SAW, and I should do a video about SAW. What SAW does is it comes in and it looks at a certain time segment to put pendings in, which are way the hell out there. I mean, it oddly enough puts stops, but it's grid trading. It's essentially grid trading. It's putting orders way out in Disneyland. And the problem I have with that is that I feel like there should be limits. Plus, the problem I have is this not looking at the hourlies, it's looking at the daily, and it's saying, okay, ATR daily, let's do this. And the stops aren't stops in that platform. They're actually percentages. I just tried another breakout system that was going to pick the ATR percentage. I couldn't get it to run. This is the only code I've got to, well, of course, I've never bothered to run the other thing I have. Every time I run one of these robots, like the free ones on there, you can never get the settings to start trading for you. And very disappointing. God, it's like getting home, bringing a new dog home and it's dead. Trying to feed it food. You're like, what happened? This is supposed to be a cute puppy. So it's just, letting go of this, because we've seen markets go sideways and then something goes terribly wrong. So upside or downside, and people are like, it's going higher. People are like, no, this is the top. It's a flag. It's a triangle. And if you're getting in on the 5-minute based on a certain, your targets are going to be smaller. And so I could see having 10 robots easy. I had 10 scalp keys here. I had 10 script keys. This is much easier. I don't want to have to be awake at 2:30 in the morning for some bullshit pattern that forms. So there's definitely some resentment of having to manage these fucking markets, which are just a fucking mess. I mean, this Gartley stuff, are you kidding me? This is like if you threw up on the wall and I said to you, I kind of see a bat wing in that. You'd take me to, you'd call the funny farm and you'd have like, we got a patient for you. Think about it. It's ridiculous. I can't even believe it, right? I can't believe it. People are looking at the world like through those glasses, but I guess they are, right? Got your template of perfection of I love when they say their passion for trading. Dude, you're not getting laid. You're just trying to make money. You know, unless you're a hooker, you're not making money on this. Like, your satisfaction is irregardless. It's terrible. It's not like you did all. Oh, I learned that. I back tested it. How you back test a Garley? I mean, I could back test. You know, back testing an entry. I got it. You know, I can see. Oh, it's like a stupid. Oh, it's gonna buy if it goes higher. This is turtle trading. This ATR breakout shit's turtle trading, for God's sakes. Now, the turtle people made a bunch of money till they over-leveraged or something. I don't know what the fuck they did. These trading stupid shit. They didn't change time frames. They're on the monthly. They get trapped in these... Are you serious? Right? So you have to have these scalps in there churning. I'm just saying for me personally. I guess I'm just ranting along the contrarian view of conventional wisdom. Well, you know what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to... Okay, shut the fuck up, right? And you just can't stand that stuff. Enough already with what you're supposed to do. Obviously, it's not working. So I had to bail on my friend that was going to get him into this trading thing, but he can't even find his way out of the house. So, and like I said, he's got a cat that's jumping on the computer. But I think my tequila buddy's son probably could handle this robot. So now the robot's built, and got to keep the platform open to run it, or you put this on a cloud or something, or you got several tablets I could run it on. I got a bunch of ancient computers that'll run MT4. I just let it churn away. So the key is going to be time frame overlaps. Maybe at some point in time, all 10 robots are running during the news or something. Some cluster party of psychosis, you know. Who knows, right? So also, just seeing that you're... so here I'm just going to get out. Market's moved enough. Let me get out of here. Unwind this position into the close. The volatility is certainly drying up, and that's definitely going to be lights out for this strategy of trading. So I'm going to go flat, taking slight profit. I mean, the market's going to close in 50 minutes, for God's sakes. But yeah, it's pretty exciting to actually get one of these goddamn... Because, you know, with all the currency pairs out there, and each one has its own time frame, who could fucking manage all that? Every time I see a guy with videos like, well, let's go take a look at the... I'm like, dude, we didn't get done looking at the last thing you looked at. Holy fuck, how are you getting in these trades? What are you doing? Just pulling the trigger on a standard lot with a 1,000 pip stop going, yeah, you know, I mean, it's a Garley pattern. Are you fucking nuts? So I'm just saying. Anyways. That's it. Market's dying. Probably not even going to get... The robot won't even respond to these moves. It's very quiet. It's Miller time here. It's time to break out the hats and the hooters until Josie comes back to town. Got 50 minutes left. If these guys go into profit, I'll probably just hit the profit button and just drift away, wait for the thing to start up, and I can't wait till the fucking market opens. I just go right to sleep. First, I'm going to run all the robots, full mode, every time frame. I mean, I'm going to run them. They start at 1 hour into the platform time, and they go to the 23rd hour. So right now, the robots probably should be shutting down now. There shouldn't be any more new trading done. The last hour here. And you can manually close these out now. So if you're looking at, you know, a $300 winner, I could see that, right? The problem I was having was, and so this guy sent me this file that ran. Looked pretty good, but you know, you really have to look at all these robots. Not to say an MACD bot does not run. Okay, it fucking works beautiful if you get the settings right with the stop to match the ATR of whatever. And there are ATR triggers to launch that. And there's no doubt that an MAC, the dumbass MACD, of course, I'd probably change the settings in there. That'll run and make money. And just build 10 of those. And run them with different magic numbers and just run that shit. And fuck all these ass clowns with the fucking Gartley stuff. I'm just saying.